Favorite part of teaching. I think you have to,
Okay.
it's all about you shifting how you talk about it, you
Mhm.
know? How you doing?
Pretty good. It's resting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me close this door. Hold on. I'm just resting.
Mm.
Coloring.
Oh, so tell me a little bit about that and how that's been helping you with all that you're dealing with.
The coloring. It's just relaxing. You know, um, just like a way to kind of just like um not think of anything right now. I get to choose my color to do what I want to do. You know,
Mm.
no agenda, no requirements, no rules.
Yeah, just show up in color, right?
hmm
I
So,
love that.
so I bought me a coloring book the other day, and I was like, okay, because I had some at the other house, but I couldn't find them. So I was like, I ain't got time to look for those coloring books. But I saw one in the store that resonated with me, so I was like, come get this one. And
Love it.
I got me. Did I tell you I got a bicycle?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, girl. So last week I bought me a bike from Walmart, and my cousin and I, we are going to go bike riding because she has a bike. And so we went, it was raining. I think it was Saturday, I think it was. It was raining really bad. And we were trying to, so I had these new, I had had a bike in over 20 years. The one I had before got lost in the fire, right? That I brought from New York. And so they have to got a thing called a Presta valve and a Schrader valve now, which I knew nothing about. So I'm trying to figure out why I couldn't inflate the tires at the doggone gas station. And it's because they got some kind of special like attachment that you have to use. And so we ended up finding a bike store in here in McDonough, and we went to the bike store and they were able to kind of explain it to us and inflate our tires and check her bike and my bike or whatever.
How dope. This is V?
Hmm?
This is V?
Our other cousin Binky, we call her Binky Centria, but Binky and V, we all kind of Val, we all hang together. So, and Val has a bike too, so we're gonna have to get Val involved too.
Wow, that's amazing.
My cousin, we were sad because we wanted to go ride for the first time this season, and it was raining last weekend. So I had to send you my little video clip of me riding around in the park in the driveway when I first got it back Saturday in the rain.
I
Because I
love
just went
it.
the first time over like I don't know how many years. I just wanted to get on there and see if I still got it. So
Yes. No, that's good. And then the belt line. If you feel
right, that's what
up
we're talking.
for it, you can do the belt line, you know?
Yeah, that's something I want to definitely play around with. But I haven't been to the Beltline since the pandemic. But my ex-husband and I, he took me there, and we had a
Okay.
the Beltline. Um, but yeah, we're gonna definitely the Beltline is one of the ones we want to check out and go ride. So I got a little helmet, a little riding gloves.
That's
So
so cool.
just try to do things. So while I'm home, my biggest thing is like doing things that really used to bring me joy. Cause I used to love to ride my bike. Cause in New York, I used to bike to work sometimes.
Really?
Yep. I had that bike was called a hybrid bike. So it was like for like a street bike slash you could ride it on in like terrain possibly too. So it was mainly for me to ride in the streets. So
Mhm.
I would ride from Bed-Stuy to downtown to my school. Because they had
What?
bike lanes. So,
Right, 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 right. And that's a great workout, you know?
I was a big girl then. So yeah, I used to bike at least two times a week for a while until my mother was driving me crazy about safety. Oh, you should do that and you shouldn't. And I'm like, oh my God, let me just stop. Let me just stop because I don't want to hear every couple of days I'll have to hear about it. Like, oh, you shouldn't be riding on this dangerous and blah blah blah. And so eventually I stopped riding.
Girl. You gotta reclaim your joy as you say. You say.
I'm saying my joy. I even considered this guy I met when I was checking out. His company is in Henry County Parks Department, and he does uh skate lessons. So I never really learned how to roller skate because I always had a fear of falling. So when I was a kid, we used to call it sidewalk gate skating basically. 'Cause I used to be right on the sidewalk, holding on to the gate, right. So, or like if we had went to the skating rink, I was one in the middle where the beginners were most of the time, or I'm clinging to the rail all the way around. So exactly. So I told my cousin, I said, I think I want to consider even doing that. So like my like 50 before 50 is really doing things that bring me joy or things that I just was maybe afraid to do that never did. Simple stuff, just simple
Right.
things. Not I ain't gotta hike the Grand Canyon and you know, fly to Alaska or whatever. I just can I just do the simple stuff? Like learn how to
But that
skate.
people don't typically do, like
Right.
skating. Like that's, yeah, because
Yeah.
that fear, like you said, of falling, you know?
So those are some of the things that while I'm home I want to do to bring back joy for me that something I feel was stolen, because my mother, she kind of operated in fear a lot and she imposed those fears on me as a kid. So it's like you don't do those things because your parents tell you don't do it.
Yeah, you listening to them.
And then you end up missing out on something that's fun. So yeah,
That sounds great.
I got it. I can't wait.
Ooh, that's fun. All right, so to get started today, I wanted to ask you if there's one win thus far that you've experienced today that you'd like to share.
When me sitting down and almost finishing up my coloring page for the week. That was a win for me.
That's perfect.
I showed her the book. She said, Tiffany, you could just do one page a week. I said, I know, because they kind of intricate, some of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm on track to finishing my one page for the week. So like, yay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. Okay, one page.
Yep.
Well, awesome. So today what I wanted us to do is just kind of talk through. I looked at your intake form, and the good thing is you're doing all this stuff. You're doing it all. So in regards to, just how I can support you, continue supporting you, I just wanted us to kind of go there and talk a little bit about how I can continue supporting you. Now, I know that you're a little chef and all of that, but what I was thinking about is, just in our conversations recently, is you do a lot of caregiving. You do a lot of caregiving, and I'm not sure if it's reciprocated where
Mhm.
you're getting cared for. Like you taking care of mom, taking care of auntie's affairs, maybe be looking out for cousins, but like who is truly looking out for you, making sure you cool, checking on you? I don't know. Then maybe the answer to that is, oh, I got these people that do that. Or it might be, I don't have anybody that really does that for me. So, for me, what I want to do is I want to help you with that. I want to support you in that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I see that you have triggers, and that can throw you off. And so we're just trying to make sure that you stay on track so that you can hit your goals. Mom's a trigger, right? So in that happening, it's like, okay, what kind of systems do we need to set up so that she is not triggering you and throwing you off, and then you have to now you're spiraling a little bit, and then now you got to get back
Mhm.
stabilized again. So let's talk through those kinds of things. So I was looking at your intake form. Let me pull it up here. And like I said, you're doing quite a bit of the plant-based thing. I'm wondering too, because like getting off of the high blood pressure medication. Have you? When was last time you and Dr. K revisited that goal?
It's been a long time. I actually have a meeting with her. I think it's next week, Thursday or so. I think it's on the 21st. Next week, next week, Wednesday, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I haven't spoken to her about that in a while. Um, but that is a goal. I achieved that goal years ago. I was on meds probably for a long time until my father died, I think. That's when I ended up back on meds.
Got it. So, I mean, I think, and she's the best person to answer this, but with having that goal and the work that you're doing around hydration and then just being consistent with really managing anxiety and all of those things, I think now is the time to revisit that conversation and see how, if and how you can begin a process to make that happen, you know?
Yeah.
So that's something that I would say y'all need to talk about. And then, from there you can like check in with me and let me know what kind of things she's suggesting that you can do in regards to that. Yeah. Because, here's the thing, like with the high blood pressure piece, as we know, it's not just one thing. But, I think as you're doing these things at home, what I
One second.
want you to think about is,
Abby, hold on one second. My mother is calling me.
okay.
One second. Sorry about that.
You okay? Okay. So, it's like there are things that come in phases. So, for example, like let's talk about hydration for a second. There are people who are underhydrated, then they're hydrated. Then our goal is to get them to be properly hydrated. And then after proper hydration, smart hydration. So you're like, well, what's the difference? The proper is getting in enough, half your body weight in ounces. But then the next level up is the timing of when that water comes into the system and
Mhm.
the value of the water, right?
Got
And so what I want us to think about, with nutrition goals, because all of those things are intertwined, is like, all right, we got to establish the habit of doing whatever it is that we need to do to reach your goals. But then now how do we refine it so that we
it.
can take it to the next level? All right. So let me ask you this. Do you send your numbers to her like I do every day?
No, because I didn't do this. I'm not coaching with her right now, but I haven't seen my numbers.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
Now,
Okay.
maybe after next week, she may require me to, because I haven't had like a meeting with her in a while. So maybe because it was all that's going on and me being on, because she had recommended me do leave when I told her what happened, and then I decided to do leave. So probably next week she'll probably be talking to me around sending numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I really want you to share with her the data. This
Okay.
is what I've been doing. Me and Chef B been doing this,
Mhm.
and I want to revisit this goal, and with us revisiting this goal, is there a strategy that we need to, or a system that we need to employ so that we can reduce, if not get off of this stuff, right? So yeah, I think just presenting her evidence,
Mhm.
what it's been, she'll best know.
Right.
Because
That makes
your numbers have been looking really, really good.
Yeah, and even like but what I've enjoyed the most is the 4-7-8 breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Been
Box
like
breathing. Mm-hmm.
yeah, like the like I've done it before, but I think like the last week or two consistently done it. Like, I mean, just every morning, my little chair back here behind me, like sitting in the chair, relaxing, sit there, pray. I have certain songs I play. And I was telling my aunt last night about my blood pressure cuff. Because, this Omron one, when you put it on and it starts taking, it's like it does like this, and it goes, and it makes really like, it's like an accelerated sound and it kind of triggers my anxiety a little bit around my pressure being taken, even for myself. So this morning I had a new strategy. So I said I'm gonna put on my rain sounds in my earpiece,
Mm-hmm.
both earpieces, so that way I can't hear the acceleration of the
Aha.
yep. And so what I try to
Love
do
that.
and so I sit and I do my rain music. That it's a song that I got. It's like from Bali. It's called Bali Rain or something. It's beautiful. And I usually listen to my Bali Rain and I usually sit there and do my breathing. I do my 4-7-8 breathing for like 6 minutes, like 2 rounds of the music playing and I'll sit for another 3 minutes in quiet meditation and just sit for a moment and then I'll take me some deep breaths and then I take my pressure and then I'll sit and put the air things in now and I'll let it play nice and loud so I can't hear And actually it relaxes me so that I don't hear that machine going. And it worked this morning because my pressure was decent this morning,
That's
considering
amazing.
I have a
Mm,
rough. Yep.
I love that. That's freaking dope. And
Yeah.
then I think you just, again, be your own experiment. Take
Mhm.
the blood pressure one morning without that, take it the next morning without it, and kind of do it for maybe a week, or I would say 8 days, so that you have four sets of data with and without,
Mhm.
and really see if it makes that much of a difference,
That's true.
you know?
Mhm.
See if it makes that much of a difference. Because that, I think, also the managing stress. So you're already doing that, like actively doing that with the classes. Do you feel like there's something else outside of the classes? Because the classes give you strategies, but then like once the classes, are done for the day, you have to employ strategy, right? But the trigger lives with you. The trigger lives with you.
And that's the thing. So what I was telling you earlier, when I reflected on what happened yesterday, I said, okay, Tiffany, like, what could we have done? How could I have handled it differently?
Hmm.
I was at one point arguing with her because I was pissed. And I was like, okay, because I don't like being accused of something that I know that I didn't do, or it wasn't true. And I don't like when people make assumptions when you don't have any evidence of that. You didn't even see me talking to you. You were in a whole nother room. And so I looked at, okay, Tiffany, how can I operate differently? So it's like, you know, another layer of ignoring certain things. Because I've been doing really good at ignoring certain things that are done. Like when I even like yesterday when she was giving me 50 million, she was going from one thing to the next thing that she wanted done, and this is what she wanted. She didn't like the curtains out into the windows, and I was like, yeah, okay, I was like, I got time for that. Like I was just kind of like, I don't give a fuck, basically. Like, and so, but when it came to that, I think it was more of a personal kind of attack on my character in a sense. I was like, nah, that's not true. And so I think it's like another layer of being able to say, um, I'm not going to let that take my power today.
Yes.
I was in a therapy session because that happened about 30 minutes before my therapy session, my group therapy. And so I love the therapy session because they allow you to process. Like the girl we had yesterday for our first session, like she was supposed to do music therapy, and she had a guitar. She was ready, and we just like took over the session. But she allowed us to talk things through, and that's what. So I was sharing about what happened to me, and then one other lady, she chimed in and she was telling me about, she was sharing how I guess some things she's experienced. I think she has a mother that, she said that, but I had to really understand that I can't let people take my power you
That-
know. And so when she said, and she was sharing about how, like she said, I heard you say some things that remind me of how I was thinking before around like how you have to make adjustments to, living with your parent. You have to make an adjustment to living further out. Make an adjustment. She said, but but I had to change that word for me and to be an evolution. I'm evolving. It's just part. Like she had to so she said that shift in her words helped her. So I said, girl, you just blessed me. She was a sister too. She was like, she just blessed me. I was just like,
Mm.
thank you for that. So, and so I think it's more of how Dr. K, perspective, like, how, so just shifting my perspective a little bit more and just really not letting things affect me or remembering if I react this way, how it's gonna make me feel later. And now I gotta come down again,
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, going back to that, I think I have probably like two mantras for the year. The first is ease. That's my framework. I'm trying to figure out ease, right? But then also be the experiment.
Mhm.
Be the experiment. And so when you choose to live there, really, and and really four agreements, right? Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Then now it's just an analysis. Everything that you dealing with mom, it ain't about you. It's about her feeling like she need control of something because she's not getting a whole lot of control. You see what I'm saying? Like she's relying on you to do these things. So within that, that's probably a challenge for her. So it's like, well, what can I control? I can control Tiffany's emotions. I can
Mm.
control, I can push the lever and piss her off. That she gonna do what I want her to do anyway. She's trying to control things.
Mhm.
And it's like you understanding what's happening. It's like, oh, not to be upset about it, but just to be like, it's knowledge. It's for you to now, okay, so like you said, what am I gonna do different?
Mhm.
What can I, we trying to create agreements. You and I honoring the damn agreements.
Right.
You like changing up on me. What are you willing to do? But then you also have to be willing to do some stuff too to keep your peace.
Mhm.
And it might require you not being in that house all the time.
Right. So to your point, like I have the event on Saturday, right? So that event requires me to go to the other house.
Hmm.
At 10 o'clock in the morning. So of course, when you do a Zoom event, you gotta be on a little bit earlier. So I was like, I'm gonna go stay the night over there. But I have to also know what my doctor told me because my doctor said, because I was telling him how, I always feel bad about leaving her. And um but I have to also know that she's gonna be okay if I'm not there. And he said, my doctor said, something could happen and you there. Like you like he was like kind of trying to give me, he said, because he told me my long-term medical doctor, he was like, he's a black doctor, and I think I don't know if I told you this story before, but he takes care of his mom. And I remember like 6, 7 months ago when I first told him that I was doing, he said, well, can somebody else do that? That's what he said to me because my pressure was high when I got there. And so he was like, well, can somebody else take on that responsibility? I was like, unfortunately, no, at this time. And so um, he said, you're going to have to not come home some days and not worry about her being there, you know? Right. And so I said to him, "You're right, Dr. Patton." And so at first, even I kid you not, Chef B, even up to this week when I was before all this incident happened yesterday, I was having second thoughts about like not staying at the other house tomorrow, making excuses. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a lot. I gotta pack up my stuff and blah blah. Oh, I don't want to leave. I can get up early in the morning. And then like yesterday, I'm like, girl, bye. No, no, you're gonna go over there and stay. And pack your little bag, get your stuff together.
Yep.
And
So like, what's that about? What's that about? In that the question I'm asking is, what's the anxiety that you're feeling about your mom being left alone? What is that?
I think it's more of it's something because she's older, and if something happens, I'm not here to help her.
Okay.
That's what it is, basically. Like, not being here, she needed me.
So interesting.
And this is not a small house, so it's like be leaving her in here by herself. So it's like, feeling kind of like, I don't want nothing to happen to her while I'm gone. Even though I have good neighbors who the other last week I left the house and went to the store and she sat down on a box that was empty and ended up couldn't get off the floor. And so, but she was in the basement working, and this happened before. And so I told mom, I said, please stop sitting on boxes that you don't know what's in it. But now she sits in the wheelchair and moves around down there because she has a walker, but when she's down there, it's best for her to sit in a chair she can move. So we have a wheelchair down there she can scoot around in. But she basically scooted around on the floor for about 45 minutes because she was trying to get up off the floor. And she didn't want to call me and tell me that she was on the floor. So eventually she called my neighbor. And what happened, I saw on the camera my neighbor, the camera's triggered because they walked in the yard. So I looked at my phone, like, who? What? I said, where they going? So they walked across the lawn. Then my front camera triggered. And I was like, what in the world? Then I saw them going around the side of the house. I said, let me call her and find out what's going on. So evidently she called them to help ask them to come help her off the floor. And so stuff like that. So at least I know that if I'm gone, somebody could help her. It's just that I guess my biggest kind of like a fear is something happening and I'm not here to help her,
Got
you
it.
know.
No, that makes sense. Can she get one of those life alert things?
Yeah, she probably definitely can.
Will she use it?
She probably would if she had one.
Yeah, one on as a necklace.
Yeah, or either yeah, I'm sure she would because she had something that she ordered before she moved here, but she sent it back because it was something she had an issue with and she had to send it back. But yeah, that's definitely something I need to look into, make sure she get one of those too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would even say, in regards to that, ease. We got to also be thinking about how we want to make our life easy because, you are overachiever. You want things to be beautiful. I mean, that's who you are. That's your spirit. And it can be, and you need help. And like the doctor said, shit, that's why you got the other house.
Right. 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 I know. And it's like I'm like,
She's gonna be fine.
yeah, that's what my doctor was telling me. And then like I'm leaving. I booked my after I booked my Orlando trip for July. 4 days, 3 nights. I'm
By
out.
yourself?
Girl, you won't believe who coming with me. You won't believe if I tell you who's coming with me as my travel companion, my new travel companion friend. You won't believe if I told you. My ex-husband. Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
expect that.
I know you didn't. That's why I said you won't believe if I told you. And like he came here. That's it. He came here a couple about 2 months ago, right? I told you. So he's
Did.
coming here 2 weeks. So we've become like friends again. So like when we were friends the first before we got married, and like he did my new video for my Lay of Power ad that I'm gonna run starting next week. Yep. And he actually said he's coming here next week after next to see about his son, and he asked me that I want to hang out with him a little bit while he's here. And so I told him, yeah, I'm single. You single? I'm like, what we're going to do? I ain't trying to get married to him again, but I do enjoy his company though. I do enjoy his company. So yes, when I was told I was going on a trip by myself, he was like, I said, if you want to go, let me know. I got an extra space. He said he wanted to go, so I was like, okay. He said he wanted to go. So we were married. We went to not Orlando. We going to Orlando this trip. It was Tampa. And we had a lot of fun. We went to the zoo or whatever they call the safari. It was fun. We had a good trip. So
What about this new dude?
oh, the new guy, I don't know where we stand. And I'm tired of trying to figure it out. So I asked him for a conversation that was supposed to happen on our coffee tea time.
Yeah.
And let's just say, like, he has not made time to come over this. He's been come over here every day last week to do work in the yard. I have 3 faucets that gotta be changed. And so he was supposed to come. And so he put it off. He's not gonna be able to come over. He said he's gonna try to come over on Sunday. I ain't gonna be here. I'll be doing the Liberation Summit on Sunday. So I will be at the other house. And so and so and so I don't know. I guess we'll have that conversation around where we stand, but he's been looking out for me a lot. He takes all my stuff, my deliveries to the other house. He has the key to get in there. I disarm and let him go in and drop off my deliveries. Like I have chairs and stuff that was ordered, fold up chairs and stuff that was ordered for the studio and other supplies. And he does all that stuff for me. But I've noticed over the last I'd say about a month or so ago now, like he doesn't, it's a shift in how he interacts with me.
You know why, right?
Why? Why?
Because of that booty.
What do you mean? Like me and like he's not interacting with me on a like we have I don't know. It's like he's become more of like a good friend, and he hasn't like made it seem he hasn't asked for like I give a good example. So I've been home for a month I'm not working, right? And you would think he would say, "Hey, Tiffany, I'm gonna come by. We could watch movies together, or I'll spend some time with you, or hey, you want to come over to my house?" And mm-mm. He'll call, but
But
or
that's
on
what
a,
I'm saying. I think once y'all became intimate, maybe that shifted things. What you think?
I don't know. I mean, to me, it didn't. It was everything was going fine for the most part. I just feel like he still had someone else out there.
Ooh,
I do. Because like when a man really wants to be with somebody, they pursue, right?
exactly.
Unless there's something, another element that prevents them from pursuing to exclusivity because there's someone else still in the wind that there's a possibility or that you're dealing with that you don't really want to like commit because you got something else going on, but this person is really nice and I'm gonna do all these things for her, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want to hurt her because I'm not ready. That's what I got from it. Because let me tell you why. Because I have another good friend. He's Jamaican as well, and he's actually one of my business partners, right? And I remember he and I had a conversation a couple of months ago. We've been friends for a long time. He's like a big brother to me. Like he'll look out for me. I haven't, but he lives further out in Atlanta, so I don't call him as much to help me, right? So he's about 57, whatever, whatever, real cool. And my mother loves him to death. And so he and I had a conversation one time about like how we never like dated. And he said to me, he's like, Tiff, I'm just chilling out here. He said, I don't want to hurt you. That means he ain't ready, right? That means he out there doing the most,
Doing the
basically.
most, and he respects you.
And he respects me enough not to pull me into that and lose our friendship, right? And so it's almost a similar type of feeling with this one.
Guy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because and not only that, because I've been on the other side too, like I won't like for example, my best friend. My best friend is a really good guy. He's cool. And he wants a relationship. He wants to be with me like that. Right? But I'm not there because my sights is kind of in a different direction. So I won't commit with him because I'm like, I'm still trying to, trying to. So I know, like, so I know what that's like. That's why I know that there's somebody else, some other element out there. That's why he won't. So, but in a sense, like I was telling my cousin, I was like, he also kind of sort of cock blocks. So you don't want to commit to me in a sense, right? But you always around, you always in the
Mm.
mix and whatnot. I've allowed you in my space on like my mother loves him to death too. Like he does a lot of things to help my mom. If he come here, my mother needs something. He could come here and I ain't even here. And my mom will ask him, to do certain things. He'll go in the basement for her and get stuff for her and whatever she need to be done. Whatever mom needs, okay, mama, what else you need?
Mm.
So like so now my mother, in a sense, she don't really other dudes like it's like anybody else coming in, it's like question
Right.
right? And so but I believe because we it's been like 6 months now since we've met, about 6 months this month here. And so I want to know like so I asked myself, so where do we stand? Like where's this going?
Mm. I think that's important to know.
Yeah, and so is there any possibility and he gives these vague responses. Like he was like, well, you never know what the future holds. That
Oh,
kind of you follow me? You when someone
hell
tells
no.
he doesn't understand that you can't play a player because I know what that is, and I also grew up with one. My father taught me real well.
Said a player. You can't play a player.
I play player, so I play like I don't really know.
Yeah, but you
I've,
know.
I've already read him, and that's why if my ex-husband want to go out, I'm gonna go out. If my other friend want to go out, I'm gonna go out because I already know that even though you be the person I want to be with, but you're showing me
You're
that
not for me in a way.
the way you're not for me. Because if you really wanted me, you would have pushed harder. You would have pushed, But but yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm just going to enjoy life.
Okay,
and,
life.
and go out and don't worry about commitment right now, I guess. Because I think that's where it gets stressful. Then you get in, and then I'm
I,
thinking, okay, is God protecting me from something? Because like then you get in a committed situation with somebody and they still can't give you time. Because we've been dating well, knowing each other for 6 months, and we've gone on one date in 6 months. One date, one date, one date.
Times y'all been together?
Huh?
How many times have y'all been together?
I lost track.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I was like, one time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know, I mean, hindsight is 2020, but they shift. Once that booty happens, they do different. They move with different. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate they like that. They're predators, preyers.
Mhm.
And then once they get the prey, it's like on to the next thing. Not saying that he gonna drop you altogether. You see, he's still helping, still doing stuff at the house, but now it's like different energy for him.
Yeah, it's almost like business, like a business partner. Like that's what it feels like. It's like, okay, if I need something, I call him. But like that's it. You know, it's more like, oh, he gives me more of a friendship hug. Yeah, he ain't giving me no hug.
Hmm.
And he that was from me go. They definitely ain't giving me no kisses. Definitely, yeah, he ain't doing that and whatnot. And so it just was like, it's all good. But
So,
even with the intimacy, even with that, it lacked emotion. It's almost like
mm,
not wanting to connect.
hmm.
It's good, but you don't want to that other layer that you don't want me to penetrate that other layer.
Yeah, I get it.
Mhm. Because I'm so aware, I was like, I feel it. I know.
Yeah.
Tiffany, just enjoy the moment and moving on. Because
Yeah.
like
Well, there you go.
that's missing, like with that is the actual like that deep connection, and he don't allow you to get that far. I don't know if he's been hurt before, or that's just his way of preventing from getting caught up with someone. I don't know.
Do you feel like that's just like that deep connection that you desire? Do you feel like that's a point of contention for you too, with stress and anxiety? You know, you know what I'm saying? Like wanting to connect with someone who deeply feels you, you know? You feel
I
like,
do
yeah, you feel like that?
feel this sometimes because it always seems like the person that I really desire that connection with is always they're usually the ones that don't want to be connected,
Mm,
or they're not available emotionally to connect, basically. Yeah. Um, and I think even with if I be real transparent, even with my husband, my ex-husband, like I felt like I cheated him in some sense because I was dealing with because when we got engaged, I told you that before we weren't together when I got engaged. He popped the question, we were separated. We had just broken up 2 months prior to, yeah, well, we broke up 2 months prior to being engaged.
mm,
And the day that he was coming down to South Carolina when I was down and checking on my dad, because my dad died a couple of weeks after I got engaged. And or about a month, I'll say about 6 weeks after I got engaged, my father died. And so um I was down there visiting my dad, but I also was looking to see if there was something still there with my ex.
yeah.
And so my ex decided that he was going to try to make things right because he wanted to have a family with his daughter. So the daughter, because his daughter was a part of his last marriage. And what he did was he went back to his ex-wife so he would be in, so that his daughter would have two parents in the household. He wanted to have a better life for his daughter. So he didn't want his daughter to grow up without him in the household. And so the night I got engaged, that day, I was actually supposed to meet up with my ex. And yeah, and so what happened, my ex-husband was calling me saying, "Hey, I'm coming there to see you."
Mm,
So I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I'll be there." So I ended up not seeing my ex, and I ended up my ex-husband came, and when we went out to dinner that night, he proposed to me.
wow.
Yeah. So a part of me
Mm.
wanted to love him, but the other part of my heart really belonged to my ex. So, but my ex wasn't available. So when you try to heal and move on, you move on with someone else because the other person, they don't want you. They gone. They don't went back to the ex-wife and
Yeah.
so that's dead. So you know you ain't getting that back. So you said, well, Tiffany, you gotta clean
Right.
yourself off, fix your crown, and move on. So I'm,
Right.
yeah, but I'm still hurting because I really wanted to be with him.
The
You know, I
other guy.
was in love with him. Yeah. And so I struggled in my marriage a lot, I think, because of that. So I feel like in a lot of ways, like my husband, my ex-husband, like he really loved me. And he really, and when I look back on things that I even get emotional on it because it's emotion for me. Because when I look back on like the things that I really needed from someone, in many ways, he gave those things to me. It was issues. Every relationship got issues, but
Of
there was certain things that he did that I remember when I was sick during the pandemic. If I wanted something from downstairs, my husband was gonna go get it. If if I slept at the foot of the bed because I wasn't feeling too great and couldn't, he would sleep at the foot of the bed right there with me.
mm.
I remember when I had really, that's when I was dealing with the adrenal fatigue really bad, and Dr. K had me on a regimen. And I never forget one day we got him. He was like, "Hey Tiff, I got a surprise for you. I want you to just get in the car. I can't tell you where we going." We were. He took me to what is it called? Something Falls. It's South Georgia.
Oh, okay. So
Something Falls.
the Falls in South Georgia?
Oh yeah, and it was beautiful, Chef B. I'm talking about beautiful water. The log. We sat on the little logs out there on the tree,
Wow.
and just watched the water come down. And it was such a soothing thing for me because I was sick. And so, or like if I was away visiting my family in New York for a while, and he would come pick me up in the car, he would have flowers for me just because. Like, I got so many just because flowers from him
Dope.
that I. So it's like, did I really give him
The
my
chance.
heart and a good chance? Because really and truly, I want the person that didn't want me or didn't have space for me. And it's so crazy because I had to like really release him. So he still periodically calls me. So he called me yesterday and he was telling me because he had some lady hit him because he has a landscaping company in Brunswick, Georgia. And a lady hit him and basically destroyed almost all his equipment.
Oh,
Trailer, he had over $50,000 worth of landscaping equipment inside that trailer. The trailer is done. And so he was just telling me about, had told me about, he called me, I think last week, and he was telling me about it. And then he called me yesterday. So he's called me yesterday, but he don't always share. But something I guess was going on with the wife. And okay, oh, and he eventually married her. So he remarried her about,
what?
I think he remarried her. Me and my ex got married, I think in, was it March of 2020? He remarried her in June of 2020 or something like that.
Wow.
Yep. And so he was talking about, I guess he didn't want to go into whatever was going on, right?
Hmm.
Talking about how he had a conversation with I think it was his barber or someone of his friends or whatever. And he was saying how he told him how he should have never went back.
Exactly. You never
And
go back.
and so I said, and so I'm learning because I had to release him not to jump down that rabbit hole with him. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Yes.
And so I just listen and don't judge,
Mm.
right? And I just listen. I said, okay. I said, yeah, but you made a decision that you thought was best at the time. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
hopefully, I said, hopefully it gets better. And, and just take, like you always say, take it day by day. And hopefully it gets better. You made a decision based on what you thought was best.
Right.
But he should never went back because some of the, and I did share it with him. I said, but I was, I was, you did. I was surprised when you did go back. I said, but sometimes we make decisions based on whatever the case may be, because there were things that she did that were really, it was terrible in a sense. And I was like, and I mean to the point that he was in tears when he shared it.
Mm.
And so I said, so I was shocked when he told me he was going back to her because, but that was your decision, and you sacrificed me in the process because it really hurt me. But but I had to. But after the being divorced, I had to. It's like I got to a place because I was releasing so many different things that I just I didn't. I had to let that go for real, for real. So like I can talk to him now and don't feel those emotions no more because I don't want that. I don't want him back. I don't want to be with him like that. I don't,
He want to be with you.
probably do, but and I won't give him the door
Right.
to have those inappropriate conversations with me.
But I think maybe not in that way, but he is going on this trip with you.
No, not him. My ex-boyfriend, the boyfriend.
See, I got to keep track of them because you said
Ex-boyfriend is the one who went back to his
is
ex-wife.
right, right. But I guess what I'm saying too is the gentleman that you're going on the trip with, the ex-husband, I'm asking if you feel like maybe there's an entry point for him. Do you think that he still wants you?
I don't think, to be honest, because we've had some real like open conversations, because that's how it used to be when we were dating. Like we used to have a lot of good conversations and honest conversations. I think for he and I both, we don't want to be married again.
But will y'all be fuck buddies?
We just enjoy each other's company. Like it's not even about the sex, to be honest. It's more of like he knows me, I know him. We were like best friends before we got married. Like we shared a lot of things with each other. We would go out all the time. Like we love to hang together. And I think it's more of there's a because he's very selective who gets close to him as far as friends.
Mhm.
And so like even when we were going through the divorce, there was something that happened with his family, and he called me. He said, "Listen," he said, "I just need somebody to talk to, and I know I could talk to you." And he said, "Do you have a minute? Can I talk to you?
That's
Because
good.
I don't go nowhere." You know.
It's a
So
blessing. It's a blessing that y'all recovering, from where y'all were. That's a blessing.
yeah, because it was ugly for a minute.
I
But
know. I remember. But it's like, well, what was happening with him?
yeah, and he shared even like he had some humbling experience of the last like I don't know year or so as well. And like he was telling me about because there was some issues he was having with he and his sister with
Hmm.
his mom. And I was so glad that when I spoke to him on Mother's Day, that he was actually there with his sister and his mom. And because at one point they wouldn't even let him come to the house because he and the cousin had conflict, and then apparently after a while the sister and the cousin had conflict, and she was no longer in the house with them. And so the sister, she would tell me things that he didn't know I knew because she would call me too.
Wow.
And so I was really happy to hear that they were in the same. I said, "Oh, you and Dee Dee made up with each other, whatever." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, we're trying to work together." And so he said, "I had to really humble myself." So some growth took place in this last year. He said there are certain things he was just saying like there are things that I just know that I just can't do no more. Or there are things that he said I had to learn because at one point he was homeless last year.
What?
And he was living with a cousin because he had nowhere to go. But he's the kind of dude that he don't let nothing get him down. So like he worked his way back out of homelessness like in a matter of months. Got a new job. He's like the top seller in his group. He was showing me how he had like a $15,000 bonus last well, February, from sales. He was like, I'm trying to stay on this leaderboard because he's real competitive. And basically now he has his own two-bedroom apartment. He got piranhas as his pets, and like he has a whole new fish tank. And I said, I never even knew you like fish like that. Like he like a whole like different person. Like even when he came here in February, I was like, this is not the same dude I married. This is not the same dude I married. And we sat in that car before we went to a lounge, and we sat in the car for about a good 40 minutes having a conversation that we didn't, because I hadn't seen him since we separated. So like we sat in that car and had a whole conversation, transparency, um, owning our shit basically in that marriage. And
Good.
being able to reconcile, things that we did differently. And then I remember we were at the bar talking to each other, and he said to me, he was like, whatever you want, order what you want or whatever. And he would say, if anybody deserves to be treated this way, is you. Because there were things that you know kind of got neglected, in
I
the
know,
marriage.
I remember that.
And then he talked about how, they were, we even had conversation around who were people we're dating. And yeah, we were talking about that. And he was saying how, meet these women, and you go out with them. He said, but a lot of them don't really care. They don't care about you. They just care about what you can do for them, what you buying for them, what dinner they eat tonight, you know. And he said, with you, it's just different, like you really care about me. You're gonna ask me about what I'm eating and what I'm eating right, and and things like that. And so he said that he know that deep down, despite all that happened between us, that he know that I really care about him. And so he said, if he always, and he said, if I could ever help you and look out for you, he said I will. So when I was telling him about the video, because he has background, and he has a good knowledge in running ads. So he was telling me, he said, okay, Tiffany, you've done a great job with establishing who you are and your brand amongst people that really know you. He said, but it's time for you to step out of your comfort zone and expand and touch people that don't know you. And this is like about 3 weeks ago, and he was like basically telling me, he said, I know it's hard to hear this because I know how been bucking me before about this here, but you need to start running some ads for your book. He said, now if you're gonna be home and he said, but you gotta figure out another way to bring income in. And he said one of the ways to do that is running some ads. And he said, and if you need my help, he said, I'll help you. He said, if you load those pictures up that you took for that book launch event and any video footage you have, he said, now I'll put something together for you. And so I sent it to my assistant. She did one. So I let him see it. And then he basically did the second one. And so I'm gonna have to say, I sent it to you. I'm gonna show it to you. And he was like, so when he sent it to me, I was like, because he knows my brand. And that was the issue I had in our marriage because you got this skill set that could benefit me, and I got one that could benefit you, but we don't work together. We work in isolation. We live in the same household. Why?
Hmm.
And so there was a video thing he did for me a while ago when I have a poem called I Choose Me that's on YouTube. And so he took the graphic from that to tell the story in the video. He said, where's that video that I did for you? Because he knows the brand. And so he took the video clip thing and he put it together and the video is dope. And it's 1 minute. It's dope. And he said, now when are you running this ad? So he's like the other accountability partner. He said, when is this ad running? He said, because I know you, like you can't procrastinate. It's time to run the ad. So so that's the next project after this weekend. After I finish this presentation, my next thing is setting up for this ad. And he said, yeah, because my account was screwed up and I had my now no longer friend. She had did some stuff with my ad account thing. He said, have you looked it up yet? I said, no. He said, I tell you what, I'm gonna look for that video because you looked that video up last week. He said, I'm gonna find that video on YouTube. You need to go watch that video so you can figure out how to run that ad. He said, because you're gonna run the ad, you
So let me
know.
ask you this: the ads he running, where's it at?
So his ad, he did ads before on TikTok. My ads don't run on Facebook, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's done ads, I think, on TikTok and YouTube for his brand.
Oh, how much does he charge for that?
He does it for himself. He ain't charge.
Oh, he don't charge nobody.
He never did for nobody else. But he learned because that's what he do. When he wants something he want to learn, he'll watch YouTube. He'll be up all night until he figure it out, and he'll test it A, test it B, and so he just told me I'll do the video for you, but you're gonna have to run. But I had an issue with running ads on my account, and he told me there's a way around it to fix it. And he said I'm gonna find that video for you to watch so you can figure out how to fix your account so you can run your ad. And so that's what he does. So we become like accountability partners in business almost too. And when we talk on the phone, it's about yo, Tip, my page got 1,000. Like this morning, he sent me a text. It was because his page got 1,000 likes now. Like his new page on Facebook, his business page, because he's doing this thing. I don't know if I think he's running some kind of he's doing something. I think to get like the people to see his page. And so we have conversations around like what we're doing with our business stuff. We don't even have conversations about sex and relationship. We don't have none of them kind of conversations. It's always about what project he working on, what project I'm working on, how you feeling, how you feeling, how's your mom, how's work today, where was you at on the leaderboard today, or like last night he was telling me about um him doing this thing with the with his like Facebook page and whether he want to do live events and whatnot. These are the conversations we have most of the time.
Ooh.
We're not even talking about getting back together. We don't because he's enjoying his single life. You know, he go to the cigar bar with his cousins and his friends. He want to travel if he want to. But right now he's trying to stack his money because he's in a situation where he's making good money and he want to keep his status on his leaderboard. And so that's what we talk about. And so, you know, it's like, just having that good friend. But he said he was saying how he wanted to travel more and do more fun things because he works, I think, 7 days a week. And so, yeah, that's what he told me. He said because he got a goal, and so that's why I said, well, hey, I'm going on this little vacation. You want to go? That's why I was like, but we mainly enjoy each other's company for the most part. We've always had, like, I have the most fun when I hang out. So that's just, like
Okay.
it, I guess.
That's nice.
So,
Well, look, good luck with that. And, I think anytime you have a relationship that doesn't work out, to be able to get back to this place where you guys are cool, that's a blessing because it ain't always like that.
right. Trust me, I know.
It ain't always like that. So the fact that y'all cool, he can support you, you can support him, it is what it is. We cool, we friends, we care for each other. That's a blessing.
Mhm. And the
That's
thing, the biggest piece I was telling him is that I feel safe. Like, he never let nothing happen to me,
hmm
and I'm not gonna let nothing happen to him neither. You know, um, if some, like it's just that's just how we roll. We've always been like that. And so, just that I think that we just had some really hard moments that really, really caused deterioration in our relationship.
Revealed where you are, like where you really want it to be. You
Mhm.
know,
Say
those
again?
hard moments really revealed where you really want it to be.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
just not married, but I do want to have a good friendship. I want to
Hmm.
be connected to you, but I'm not necessarily feeling the marriage piece.
Right. And he's not neither. Because he even said it. He said, I don't know if I want to do that again. That's what he said. He said, I don't know if I want to do that again. And he said, he's just enjoying, he said his focus is on himself and getting his money right and getting his career, where he wanted to be in his business brand. Because he's a comedian, he does comedic rap. That's what he does in his, yeah. So he has this whole, so when we were during the pandemic, so he's always been behind the camera, the videographer. Like he did, what's his Atlanta rapper called Little Scrappy? He did Little
Oh,
Scrappy's first video. He was the videographer behind Little Scrappy's first video. And so he's always done videography work. And so he got over during the pandemic, he tapped into music because he loved music. And so he has a couple of songs on Spotify. And some of them I really like, but he has one where he basically um captured some of the most major elements of the pandemic. It's called Hindsight 2020, and he's talking about elements that happened during the pandemic, and he seamlessly put them together in a rap song.
wow.
But the song that that has him people laughing is the one that he calls 40 ain't the new 20. Because his stage name is called King 40 Plus. Because like basically he's talking about, 40 ain't the new 20. And he's citing things that we as people over 40 deal with.
That's funny.
It's so on his YouTube channel, it's a song. His song is called 40 ain't the new 20. And it's hilarious. And so he goes to like karaoke spots and he sings a song and all that stuff and so he
Welcome to the essentially.
yep, so he clowns about, um things that we people over 40 deal with. He got another song called Honey Pack because I think it's like this honey pack thing that the guys buy at the gas station to stay to last longer during sex. And so he has a whole song about that. When he's
I
talking
see that. I see that.
So a homie of mine had a little get together at his crib to celebrate his 40th born day. Somebody asked him how it feels to hit the big 4-0. So I guess he was kind of feeling himself and was like, brand new. You know what they say, 40 is the new 20. I just shook my head, took a sip of my crown, and broke it down to him like this: 40 ain't the new 20. So don't get it mixed up. Go get in it. 40 ain't the new 20. And if you think so, you been smoking like a stove plenty.
Oh Lord.
So it's like so it's like it's meant to be funny. And so that's what he do. That's what he does in his other time other than sales. That's what he does.
That's dope.
That's what he does. So it makes him so he did a lot of his songs he did them right there in the house in Jonesboro.
That's dope. All right,
So
so go ahead. What you gonna say?
that makes him happy. I'm like, hey, do you?
So I was gonna say because it's we're past two. I just wanted to. I know we just be talking. The last goal that you have is to lose weight, and I wanted to know that I wanted us to talk a little bit about that to see, you know, food wise, nutrition wise, have you started anything? Do you need to, like, what kinds of things do you feel at this point, since you are home, that you can put in place to at least start getting to that goal? Or have you started getting to that goal? Have you been like checking your weight and all that?
No, because since I've been on this medication or the last month or so, it's been my appetite has been really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, I have a lot of days where I may eat one real meal for the day and I'll have like some snacks. Like I don't have like my appetite took a shift, seems like, where and especially in the very beginning when I was home, it's like I can go almost all day and don't eat, like no appetite. And then I have a day where I'm hungry. And so whereas I'm someone who eats at least 4 meals a day, like kind of like scheduled, and it's been really off. Yeah, it's been off. And then I found that I've craved like sweet things and
Yeah.
things like that. And I can tell you, living here with my mom has been interesting because my mom has, there are things that I brought into the household that I normally don't eat, but it's in the house. Sometimes you snack it. So I have to really like get back on track and like really eliminate some of the snacking that has been taking place,
Yeah,
you know.
that's a lot. I'm wondering, since you're home, can you still get that schedule? I know like you don't have the appetite, but even if you have smaller meals and you eat those, it's almost like you're revving your system up
Mhm.
and you're pushing it to get back on track. So
Yeah.
you're not eating till you're full, you're just eating to eat because you need the nutrients. You need it. You need something. But I think maybe the trigger isn't coming to the brain. Okay, it's time to eat something. I also think that's one strategy. The other thing is the hydration piece.
Mhm.
One meal a day. One meal a day. One relatively sized meal, probably early in the day,
Mhm.
eventually will help you to lose the weight.
Got it.
But I do also know that with stress, that keeps the weight on. So I'm so glad that you're working on the management piece so
Mhm.
that we can get your hormones balanced, the stress and anxiety under control.
Right.
Now, when you're eating, I'm curious, what are you eating?
Like lately, so I have like this turkey. It's not processed turkey, but it's like a turkey that's like a turkey breast that
Mhm.
I heat up on the stove, and I'll have that with like some like today I had some with some kale and spinach over it, and then I have a little bit of I had some what do you call it? Some kind of cheese, a little piece of like a cheese over it, and then I had some Dave's bread, the whole grain bread and a little bit of avocado mayo on it. That's what I had with some grapes and some strawberries and my water. That's what I had today. That's all I had today.
So
And
I
then I
would,
pumpkin seeds and my cranberries and a little thing I put together myself. And I have these little like natural like fruit snacks things that I got that have just fruit in it. Just dried fruit like made into like a snack, like a little bar. And that's what I that's for the most part that's what I'll have during most of the time. Unless I got a taste for some frozen yogurt and some chocolate.
that sounds good too. So I would say take the bread out and the cheese out
Mhm.
of that. Like when you're able to just eliminate those carbs, I would do it. Because then you had the greens, you had the chicken, you had the pumpkin seeds on the side, the fruit. That's a perfect plate.
Mhm. Yeah.
Perfect plate. So it's almost like what would be interesting for this, like, so what we're at the 15th of the month. Maybe you start like in a couple days if you feel comfortable doing this. till the following month on the same day. No bread for 30 days.
And what's so crazy, you want to hear something interesting? Is that I normally don't eat bread.
Really?
I'm so serious. Um, I've ate probably more bread these last 30 days home.
Yep.
I've probably eaten more. Like I don't normally eat bread. I don't even buy it, but my mother buys it. And so I start making sandwiches. Like I don't normally eat sandwiches. I don't eat bread like at all. And so I was very surprised that I even eat them. Mm.
So let's do it. What do you think
Yes.
about that for the next month? Like just, and bread shows up in different ways. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just bread,
And pastries and
crackers, pastries, pasta.
yep.
You know what
All
I
of
mean? All
that.
that. So if you say you don't eat bread, are you not eating any of those things either? Crackers and chips and
Like I don't do chips, don't do crackers. I did have pasta for the first time on Mother's Day with my mom because
mm,
I bought a we had an Italian dish for Mother's Day. But other than that, I don't eat pasta. I don't even hardly eat rice. Like I made a salad jar for my presentation that has quinoa in it, which is good. It's a good grain. But normally, or like I have like I'm doing one for the event. I'm doing black rice, but I don't even almost never cook that stuff. I'm usually it's a veggie, it's some fruits, it's the proteins. That's usually my go-to, and I very rarely seldom do sweet potatoes.
good.
Yeah.
So
So
it could be stress.
mhm. And my cycle is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what about workout?
So that's the other part. So that's the thing that I really want to get back on track. So I haven't been exercising. That's why I bought the bike too.
Yep.
So I have a whole gym in the other room. Treadmill, row machine, steppers, you name it, I have it. Because I used to teach fitness classes. But I haven't had a desire. I was telling my therapist that. So it's like this after getting through this presentation this weekend, my so every week I try to set another goal. So the goal for next week is to incorporate some more fitness. So I bought the bike. That's one part of it. But the other part is, can I just get on the treadmill and walk 15 minutes? Or can I do me a little step routine or something and with some a little circuit with my weights and my steppers? Like I gotta do something. Cause
Yeah.
I want I have because I'm not really in the public right now as far as doing like any events, but I have a speaking engagement at the end of June. And I got a blue dress. I just put that I because her color is blue. She wants to wear blue. I have a dress that I put on my in my room over there to wear for that, but I gotta be able to fit in it.
Right.
So
So okay, let's come up with a strategy for the next 30 days. When is the event?
it's June, the last weekend in June. I think it's June the 26th, 27th, June 28th to be exact.
All right. So
So I want to really start on Sunday. That gives me time to get myself together and
okay, so we're starting this Sunday. That's 16, 17 to 18.
hmm,
All right. All right. So what do you feel is it? So let's come up with 3 to 5 action steps that you feel that are feasible for these goals. So honestly, like your top 3 goals, get off high blood pressure medication again, manage stress and anxiety, and lose weight. So 3 to 5 action steps is going to help us to get closer to those goals. And it don't even have to be all. It could just be, you could choose one. Keep it simple. So what kinds of things are coming to mind for you? Like, what do you want to start on May 18th? Doing what?
shifting my food back again, shifting my food. Because part of my struggle or my even my anxiety and stress comes when I think I was doing a reflection today around like why do I always feel like I'm not good enough or
Mm,
I'm not confident in who I am even as a self-care strategist, right? Um, it's because I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm broken. Like I can't, or like I don't have like I'll be good for a while and then something will throw me off track. And so I feel like how can I help somebody else? I always keep going back and forth with myself, like, well, how are you gonna help somebody else? And I know where that comes from because of something that happened with my old trainer years ago, who helped me on my weight loss journey, who helped me lose the majority of the weight that I back in the day. And when I was at my best size, and one weekend I stepped on the scale and I had picked up like 2 pounds, and she went off on me and told me like, how can you help somebody else if you're going to pick up weight? And I know what you're trying to do. I'm trying to help you get there, but I can't help you get there if you're going to pick up these pounds. So in my mind, and that's kind I was hurt because I was like, damn, because I looked at her as my person, right? So it really crushed me because she was just like, and and she kind of like, and so I went home that day really upset with her because I'm like, I've worked really hard, I've come so far, and so I'm battling with the 2 pounds don't define you, Tiffany, but at the same time,
Exactly.
I'm battling with, but you can't be, you know. And so I wrote, so I don't know I don't know if you ever saw my hashtag. I have a hashtag I used to always wear called I am determination. Because in my very first book, I wrote a response to what she did to me
Damn.
in a manifesto, and it was called I Am Determination. And I was citing in the manifesto like the things that I accomplished because I was kind of trying to combat what she told me. But the seed had been planted. So I've been fighting that seed for a long time that if I gain the weight, I'm not good enough. If I gain the weight, I can't help people. If I gain the weight, I can't step on stage and feel confident. I don't feel confident. So I've battled, and that's what keeps me stuck because I'll do good in my brand and then I'll get stuck again because I'm still doubting, am I good enough? Can I do this? Or what people going to think about me? Because I know, like, when I looked at my pictures, it took a lot for me, even for the book launch. Like, I didn't like the dress I had on. I looked bigger than I normally would look in a dress. Like, I had to at the same time to snatch those thoughts because I'm like, Tiffany, you've been through a lot, girl. Give yourself some grace. You still are beautiful. It still didn't stop
Yeah.
38 people showing up. It still didn't stop from people getting what they needed before they left your event. It still didn't stop from like, so I had to constantly keep talking to myself because the other person in my head is still telling me I ain't good enough. And look, girl, you're gonna gain that weight. And how you gonna help somebody else? And so I'm still battling with that, Chef B. I'm still battling with that. So I feel my best when I ain't carrying all of this. Like, I don't feel good. It's like being a fraud, even though I've helped so many people. Like a girl who she was a coach with me. She's now have a big position in DeKalb County schools. When the day she was leaving last day at work, we were at a training session. She said, Miss Kelly, she said, you don't even realize how many people you helping. She said, I follow you on Instagram. She said, I don't almost never respond or even like a post. She said, but I've been watching you, and it's because of you. Because I looked, I said, you losing weight. She was like, yeah. She said, I get on my treadmill. And she said, I watched you post a video on your treadmill one day. And she said, well, I could do that. I could do that. Like, and so it's like she said, and then another lady was standing there, Miss Chance. She was like, "Yeah, Miss Kelly." She said, "I do the same thing. I follow you all the time." She said, "You are such an inspiration." She said, "Don't stop doing what you're doing because you're helping people." But in my mind, I'm still looking at my physical, and I'm still like, "But I can't get my weight under control. What is going on?" When before I was so good at this, but at the same time, I know that I've dealt with so much. So I don't know.
So it's
That's where
something that you just got to keep working through because you know that those are definitely you had. So here's the thing: when we're dealing with that kind of mindset, that's a mindset deficit, or deficit mindset thought. You got to keep working on it because you have examples, you have the success examples to not think that. So I feel like it's something else. It's not what you think it is. It's not that moment. It's not her.
Mm,
Something else happened that triggers that moment. So you think it goes to that moment. It's something else I think that's happened when you were younger,
mm.
you not feeling like you're good enough. And it's almost like compounded. You see what I'm saying? Because
Well,
if go ahead.
the other piece of that is funny because in therapy last week we didn't go deep into it, but we talk about what do they call it? Mal something. Mal. It's called maladaptive schemas, right? And so one of them, so we talk about how these schemas come about is from like things that happens as kids. So what when the therapist said it, I automatically thought about my father because my father was amazing, but he was very critical of everything you do. He's very critical. So my perfectionism probably comes from that because if I came home from school, especially I remember I was in college or high school, and I had a 97 or a 98 on a paper, he gonna talk about, well, how could you have gotten in the 100? So he wouldn't necessarily immediately celebrate the 97 or 98. He gonna tell me about how I could have had 100. You follow me? So it's like always having to, or it's like it was never, it was good, but he always wanted to push me. In his mind, he's doing it as a father, trying to do the
Right.
right thing.
But
He's
he's
pushing,
breaking you in the process because he's not acknowledging your wins.
right. And so I think that that's probably where it comes from because even myself, like I have to really slow down after even an event to celebrate the win before I critique what didn't go right and what I didn't do because I have to be real intentional about celebrating girl and being present in that moment.
Yes.
If not, I'm going to, oh dang, we didn't do this and we didn't do that. And oh my God, this should have happened. And but it was great though. And so that's pretty much probably where it comes from because my father was like, you have to be the best. And I ran businesses from very young. So I had to always be on my toes because I was the youngest person running businesses at 15. And so I couldn't afford to really make too many
Make
mistakes because my
mistakes.
father was
That's
dependent
right.
on me.
That's right.
And so so it's almost like I had to be perfect, you know? So that's probably where it comes from
Yeah.
because, having to be perfect. I remember my mother used to get so mad at me because when I would do homework with her, if it wasn't written perfectly, I would erase the whole page and start over again. And I never forget, my mother told me one night, she said, if you erase that page one more time, I'm gonna beat you up in here. Because she was frustrated because I kept erasing it, wanting to be perfect, wanting to be, you know. And so that's probably where it comes from because it's almost like I couldn't make mistakes, or you know, that's if you want my childhood, if I go back enough, that's probably what I see it coming from. Yeah, yeah.
So let's come up because we're not 225. So first of all, let's do this. What's your biggest takeaway from our conversation today?
Well, my biggest takeaway is um when you were talking about the food piece, even with that, like just how do I keep it simple?
Yeah.
Because like okay, what's one thing you can do, focus on? Because usually I'll jump down the road. I think that's what makes me overwhelmed lately with stuff like I'll just jump too far out there. And it's like, okay, because I want to be perfect, right? I want things to be a certain way. Um, but I think just okay, where do I start? Can I just start something simple,
Yeah.
and go there and not worry about it being perfectly done, you know?
Yeah. And I just want to say this to you. I just want to acknowledge you. Like you are perfect. You're perfectly Tiffany. Like you're perfectly you. And your perfect is good enough. Like your perfect is more than enough. Okay, like you gotta know that. Like you just being average is way more than average. You can strive for being average. I'm being silly with this, but I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
You're creating your anxiety. You're creating the anxiety and stress because you're holding on to this stuff from your childhood. And you have all of these triggers. You have all these triggers around you. You're perfect, Tiffany. I'm telling you, I'm so impressed with you. I think you're amazing. You're not 15 anymore. You're not running the businesses. You call the fucking shots. Daddy is gone. He not calling the shots no more. Okay? Mommy's not calling the shots. You call the shots. You letting these people run you. You are letting these people run you. And this is me talking tough to you now. They're creating your stress and anxiety. They're contributors of it. And they don't have to. They don't have to because, it's work. It's not, it's easier. Well, it's not as easy as I'm saying it, but it's definitely a practice because you're unlearning, undoing years and years and years of damage. You shouldn't have been doing no damn business at fucking 15 and then somebody not acknowledging your wins. Like, nobody should be dealing with that. So now you have to unpack all of that, unlearn all of that, and know that you're fucking enough. You have to say it. My my perfect is enough. Whatever the hell that is. It is. Okay? How do you feel about what I'm saying?
I needed to hear that. Um, I feel hopeful because
Yes.
I know that I'm special.
Yes.
It's like even like with this event on Saturday, I was like, Tiffany, it's gonna be amazing because you did it. You did it. I try to tell myself
Yes.
because I try to remind myself, what haven't you done that hasn't been damn good? Like, like I have to keep telling myself that, girl, just show up and do the damn thing, And so it's my gift, and so I just need to, release those things and unpack it, and I think, like you said, just like knowing that I run the shots. I think, my mom coming here, I'm grateful to have her here, but I left home for a certain level of peace and independence. And I think that my mom coming here, no, I love her. It brought like old habits, old mindset, all living wrapped up in my house all over again.
Trauma.
Things that are already unpacked. Like, I don't want to hear about my father and what he did to you. I don't want to hear about, 50 million different old stories that I heard. Like, it's just certain thing that she hasn't released that I've tried to move forward with, but I gotta keep hearing it. But when you don't live in the same house, so you can say, okay, talk to you later. But now I sit in the house with you. So it's like, but I truly believe, like you said, I receive that I'm perfectly just me. It's who God created me to be. And I'm definitely gonna work on that because it's holding me back. It's holding me back. And I know that. Like I like, my business, like when this guy told me a long time ago, this coach, he's like, you sitting on $1 million business, girl. He was like, do you know what you got? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm stuck because of things that I keep going back and forth with myself with. And that's why I'm not further along. And that's why my ex-husband, that's what he kept saying, yo, when you gonna pull the trigger on it? You gotta expand. But I think there's a fear of, when you expose yourself to more people, it's like, but I have to understand that just as much as the people in my circle love me, they will too. And so
Absolutely.
I've tested enough. I,
Yeah.
yeah, I've done all the research. I got the data. I even got data from people who don't know me, like who from all these different states that I've been in last year, and doing presentations. But it's just, believing myself because everybody ain't nobody never really told me I couldn't do nothing really, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's me second guessing myself, so yeah.
All right. So this is what I want you to do. This is what I'm being led to tell you to do. Then you're going to give me your 3 to 5 action steps. We're still in the full moon energy. The full moon was 2 nights ago. So you have like tonight to do this activity.
Okay.
Write a letter to your dad.
Okay.
Write a letter to your dad where you're releasing whatever it is that you need to release. You know you love your dad. You know that he did so much for you. And there's some things that are still left, remnants of him that you need to release. Right?
Mhm.
So write a letter to him. And then when the moon is up, burn it in a full moon. So the energy is waning now, right? Because it was strong 2 nights ago. But like, release it. Go outside, get a candle, and burn it while looking at the moon. Okay? How does that feel?
Feels good. It's definitely doable, and it's right on time because Remember I told you about riding the bike and going skating? Those are things I didn't do as a kid like I wanted to because I was working. So the things that kids mostly did to have fun on weekends, I didn't do because I was in laundromat, dry cleaners, or the club. My friends came to me to play at the laundromat because I couldn't go play with them because I was working in the laundromat. We played double dutch on the sidewalk outside the laundromat in front of the hydrant, and I still got in trouble for being out there because nobody was inside giving out quarters when needed. That was my childhood. I learned business, but what kids typically did on a Saturday to have fun, that wasn't my narrative.
Yeah.
So, so yeah.
So it should be a powerful letter. I'm sure it will be. Just love up on him and just talk to him. Yeah, but release the things that are no longer serving you that you feel like you're holding on to. And maybe use the rest of this afternoon to just think through what those things are.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, 3 to 5 action steps. So remember, so get off blood pressure medication, manage stress and anxiety, and lose weight. Which of those things do you want to really tackle? I know they're all important. Do you want to tackle all of them in these 3 to 5 action items, or maybe just one or two?
Probably the two. Um, because I guess with two of them, the other one will come.
Mhm.
So getting off medication will come if I manage my anxiety and lose the weight and my stress levels. So I'm going to say number two and number three. Those two.
Okay, cool. So what are we going to do to really focus in on managing the anxiety?
Definitely continue doing my routine in the morning of breathing. Definitely want to do that.
And the specificity of the routine is the 4-7-8 breath, right? For 2 rounds.
I usually do 2 rounds of 4, 7, 8 breaths, followed by uh at least a 5 minute meditation. That's every day.
Okay, got it. All right. So that's one. Anything else you want to work on?
Probably continuing to see my therapy, being part of this therapy program would be the other part of that.
Hmm. Okay, anything else?
Um, and just continue to have fun, like, doing things that bring me joy, coloring, biking, just doing activities that bring me joy.
Okay, so those are centered around managing stress and anxiety. What can we talk about that you want to really be intentional about around the losing weight?
Cutting back the carbs, like we talked about, definitely doing that. Cutting back the carbs
Okay.
versus
Specifically what though?
breads, pastas, crackers. Yeah.
Forms of bread, right?
The bread, yeah, basically.
Okay, good. Anything else?
And considering my hydration.
Yes. Excellent. Yep, I love it. All
And I
right.
start.
Routine in the morning, continuing that. Your 2 rounds of the 4-7-8 breath, 5 minutes of meditation, continuing to be a part of the therapy program, having fun, bringing things that bring you joy, coloring, biking, cutting back on the carbs. That's number 4. Pasta, crackers, and bread, or different forms of bread. And last but not least, continuing your hydration. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Now that E3 Live in your water can also help to curb your appetite. So like if you're doing any small meals like fruit, berries, the yogurt without added sugar,
Mhm.
if you add the E3 Live into the water source, it's gonna naturally curb your appetite and you're gonna get the trace minerals that you need. All right. So I'm
Okay.
not telling you not eating. I'm telling you small things like some chopped up apples with maybe some sunflower butter, some berries with yogurt. You see what I'm saying? Little small snacks because you got to keep your metabolism going too.
Right.
You got to do that.
Right.
What were you
So
gonna say?
question, the E3 Live. So I have it in the ice trays, right? I
Yeah.
haven't done it because I got sick because I was trying to just get back on track with just in general.
Okay. Hmm.
Now with the E3 Live, I used to take one ice cube and put it in like
Water.
30 36 ounces of water.
Absolutely. Yes.
Just drink it throughout the day.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
I just want to make sure I was doing it right.
That's it. That's all you do. Just pop it in, boom, thaw it out. If you have more, fill up the ice cube tray so you have an ongoing supply and it's not running out on you. And then when you know you're getting low, you reach out to me, we'll get you some.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It was a beautiful session. I'll send you over notes.
Thank you for everything. I appreciate you.
Yes, of course. You're doing so good. You know that, right?
Thank you.
You have to acknowledge that. You know you're doing good, right?
Yeah, yes, I am. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, you're doing damn good.
Yeah, I really am because it just I'm just like I'm loving the progress because even my routine in the morning, like I'm loving that I've been consistent with it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice. Like
yeah,
I feel like when I'm getting off track, it's like, okay, and I'm reminded that even if I don't get to take blood pressure because I'm rushing out the house today, I'll just take it anytime during that day, just so that I have done it.
right,
Last
right.
night before midnight, I was like, I gotta send her this blood pressure reading. It was late as hell. But I was
I
like, I just gotta do it. And then
yeah,
I'll do the next one in the morning, just so that I'm creating the routine of doing it.
right.
And so now that's for me, that's one of the things that I'm like, so you'll see readings come in, it may not be in the morning. If you don't get a reading in the morning from me, that's because shit was haywire.
I figured that. I make sure.
But I'm gonna do that shit.
Right,
That's
right.
the goal. And I be feeling bad, like, damn, I ain't getting my 100 in. I'm like, I just gotta release that. So we all going through the same thing where our self-monitor is high and we're beating ourselves up. But no, motherfuckers ain't doing this. Motherfuckers ain't doing this. Motherfuckers ain't in therapy sessions like what you doing. Motherfuckers ain't conscious enough to do the self work.
Yeah.
So that's why you already in a whole nother goddamn league. Motherfuckers who supposed to be taking their goddamn blood pressure every day ain't doing it. Motherfuckers ain't tracking they shit on the water app.
Right.
Motherfuckers don't have an accountability buddy that they're like, I gotta get my shit to my accountability buddy and sending it to them.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers ain't challenging themselves to drink more than 80 ounces beyond what they say they're gonna do and actually doing it. That's what you doing though, right?
Mhm. I sure am.
So stop beating yourself up, please. For what?
You're right.
Already in a whole nother level. You're elevating.
Yeah.
Already in a whole nother level. They ain't doing what we doing.
Nope.
Why they fucking mad all the goddamn time? They not thinking like trying to get outside of themselves and be analytical and think, okay, this shit ain't about me. They going through something. Like they not doing those things. So you then can't beat yourself up for doing all the things and not feeling like it's enough. Come on, girl. Mm-mm. I won't let you do that to yourself.
Appreciate you. Love you, Chef B.
All right, I'm done.
Yes, ma'am.
Cussing all damn day, people calling me, telling me stuff. I'm like, I said, I always ask, may I have permission to speak like plainly? They're like, yeah, yes, you can. It's like, you sure? Yes, you can. I'm like, thank you.
Love it.
So,
Yes. You're right. You're right. I'm gonna get it together.
yeah, and it's gonna take time, but just when you feel yourself going down there, just You got to come up with couple two or two statements, something, one statement to help you get out of
Yeah.
that negative self-talk.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
nah, that you bigger than that. I am determination. I am enough. I choose me. Whatever they are.
Yeah.
Something quick, but you're like, okay, yeah, yeah, we not even going there. I'm over here.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm on it.
I know.
All right, shall we enjoy? I'll see you tonight, I guess, on our call.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working because I gotta get stuff done. So I'll probably be at the kitchen
Got
on
it.
the call, bottling something. I'll be doing that.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I'm about to got this house for a minute. I'm gonna go up to I gotta go get some stuff for this for the salad jar demo for them Saturday. So I'm gonna go pick up some of that stuff. And I got this this so I'm doing all these little things that I enjoy. Like I have an art you use paint and sip. I got a paint and sip canvas that I never finished. I can't find my paint, so I'm going to Ross and get me some paint. So I may be outside today, just to
Painting.
yeah, painting.
I
First,
love painting. Good.
but I gotta finish my coloring page first.
Yeah, send it to me when you're done. I want to see what it look like. I love coloring. I love it. It's cool.
All right, girl. I'll see you later.
Later.
Later.